Hello. The topic of today's podcast are AI agents, their data and their identities, and how to protect them. If you want to learn about the importance of AI agents, the quality of data, the governance of data, risks related to the agents, model poisoning, AI identity security, scaling, and the future of automation, please stay with us for the next 10 minutes and have a cyber snack. First, let's focus on the importance of AI agents. It seems that AI agents are nowadays everywhere. Why are they becoming such an important business topic?
Welcome, Sabina. Thank you very much for the introduction. AI and AI agents are automated systems that help businesses to operate, to automate specific tasks which before had to be done by hand, and they are very good at that. This doesn't mean that the companies are reducing the workload, but it means that they are optimizing it and expanding the business. AI is one of the solutions if optimized efficiently, which allows businesses to do much more with the same amount of people and resources which they have. And this will increase in the future even more with the development of AI and additional functionalities and features of AI agents.
Okay. But why is data the foundation of everything? I mean, you often say that AI is only as good as the data it consumes. Why is data quality so important?
That's very true. Data is very important in the AI spectrum. And the reason for that being is that AI agents are like human beings. The information which they know, which they learned, this is the information with which they can operate. There is a famous phrase which says rubbish in, rubbish out, and this applies very well to AI. If we give AI bad data or wrong data, then we might get results which we do not expect. There is a very good. There were news in the past about, I believe it was an airline company that used a chatbot, and a specific user of this airline managed to get 100% discount on a ticket because the data with which the AI bot was operating was wrong or was slightly off. And this then became a legal case, and the person won because the company is responsible for the bots they operate with. That's why in AI sphere, it's very important that the data is well classified, that we know which data we give access to AI, and that the data is sufficient so that AI can operate within the intentions. Because if we have poor data, it will lead to poor recommendations and poor actions. And this with AI scales very, very quickly.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't know we can flirt with AI agents and get a free ticket if the system is not working properly. But what about data governance? What does good data governance look like in AI-driven organization?
The most important things with data in organization is that you give the right data to AI, and the second one is compliance. And we have to take a look at both areas. The first one, what type of data we give to AI, we discussed previously. If we give bad data to AI, we get bad results. That's why the data has to be sufficient. The other risk which comes is compliance. If we give to AI too much data or data that is sensitive in specific aspect, then we can run very quickly into compliance and data protection issues. And organizations should be very careful about which data they expose to AI. They should not allow AI to access everything, especially if you are residing in Europe, where the controls are a bit stricter. Therefore, organizations have to use specific solutions which allow classification, labeling of data so that they know which data is sensitive and which one is not sensitive. An example of such solution would be Microsoft Purview, but there are other solutions which accomplish the job in a similar way.
Mm-hmm.
And this governance of the data, it has to be looked from perspective that it enables innovation rather than blocks it, but it keeps the whole system safe for everyone involved.
I see. So governance is actually closely related to the compliance issues. And as we all know, legislation is always a step behind the technology progress. And okay, now I'm curious about the risks hidden inside AI models. I mean, many companies use open source AI models. What risks should they consider in that case?
Well, open source AI models are similar to open source code, or maybe even more dangerous because there's a lot of them. And as we see with open source code or repositories, we have compromises of those. Similar things might happen to the public models. For example, everyone is well aware of Hugging Face, and there are a lot of models on the Hugging Face which are created by developers, and anyone can publish the models there. But those models are not validated by Hugging Face or any other organization. It's just they are there and anyone can use them. And the models are in general fine, but 1 in a million might be specifically twisted, which will perform the intended actions, but it might also exfiltrate specific data or do malicious activities once it understands the specific context. And this is very difficult to understand as an organization because you would have to test and validate every single model in different scenarios, how it behaves. And this is a very interesting topic for future development. How will the industry move forward and start validating those models and activities that they perform? Will it be the same as with open source code, where we just trust the authors and read community reviews, or will we have any more advanced validations of the code?
Oh, I see. I'm not familiar with this Hugging Face that you mentioned, and maybe it's not clear to our audience. Can you just explain this term?
Yeah, this is a repository. You can think of it as GitHub for code, but this repository hosts models.
Ah,
So
okay. Mm-hmm.
anyone can upload a model to Hugging Face, and then it's made publicly available for other people to download it and use it.
So similar to Git. Okay. I've heard also somewhere about model poisoning. That sounds interesting. Could you please explain what that is and why should executives care about it?
This is one of the hidden risks of AI, and this is mostly related to organizations that develop AI or use open source models. This might come into organizations either as a supply chain attack or third party compromise, where an organization would use a model developed by a third party or an open source model, which has been in a specific way configured or poisoned by a malicious actor. We could compare this to the, for example, package poisoning. We had in this year a lot of NPM package related supply chain related attacks. This would be something what we could compare it with. So you have a model which was intentionally developed to behave in a specific way under specific conditions. And if organization would use this specific model, then malicious actions might occur. The issue with this being is that specific models are very difficult to test in different scenarios. And as AI and AI agents are dynamic things, they might use models in a different way at a different time. So the results that come out of the model can be very difficult to determine. And I believe this is one of the areas that have not yet been very well developed. If you're using kind of AI security solutions, they all support sandboxing or model testings where they have predefined tests, but I cannot be very confident on which percentage or how well those tests would perform against such models. So to sum it up, there are methods to mitigate the poisoning and to detect it, but this might be very difficult.
So, if I understood correctly, due to dynamic nature of AI agents, they are more challenging to be tested.
Not really. Models behave in a different way. For example, if you ask GPT a specific question in one way, you will get one answer. If you ask it in a different way, you will get a different answer. And this is just the basic behavior of a model. But because we cannot predict what the input will be from an AI agent, we can also not predict what an answer of a model will be.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, and here we come to the question about identity security. If we move from models to agents, why do AI agents actually need identities?
Agent is like a human being, like an identity in an organization. It has access to systems, it has access to data, to documents, etc. And this access can be assigned either with specific access keys, or we can utilize identities, which is a better option, and it's a cloud familiar approach. In cloud environments, we have three types of identities. We have user identities, we have service principals, we have managed identities, and now we also have agentic identities, which are the same thing. It's basically, we just say that a specific model or specific agent has access to specific resources. And using identities, it is much easier than to track the access, track the activities of specific agent, and we also can follow the zero trust principle of least privilege, which is critical for enterprise environments.
Okay, so this sounds like personas as we have them in marketing. You know, when you define somebody as persona, AI agents can have different personalities or identities with certain traits, as I understand. But I guess it's a challenge for organizations. They need to properly govern those identities. Unless they do it, that can pose a security risk, I guess.
Correct. This is the same as with other identities in the environment. The agent identities are not much different. For all identities, we have to monitor what access they have. We have to understand if this access is still needed. Is it too permissive? Is it based on the least privilege? If we do not have this type of monitoring, then we lose accountability. We have risks of privilege escalation, access of sensitive data, and also from incident response perspective, we cannot determine what the agent did if we do not have these logs. And this comes to the topic of AI security, where majority of organizations, they need to have visibility into agent actions. Not necessarily into model activities, because that's very low level, but at least what the agents are doing. There are multiple solutions on the market that support that, how we monitor. Some organizations might go directly for agent security solutions. Some of them might go for model level, where you have, for example, a gateway or an agent on each device, which then monitors input and output prompts towards a specific model, so that organization can introduce specific guardrails.
Okay. What about scaling? I mean, Many tech companies have just a few AI agents today, but should they already get ready and think about scaling in the future?
AI will definitely scale because in my opinion, it's an innovation of a century. In last century, we had internet. Now we have AI. It brings so much capabilities and innovation to the table and automation that organizations will have to adopt AI. Without the AI, I believe that they will fall back. And moving forward, I believe we will see more and more AI agents and other automated flows being implemented in organizations. And I think that currently it is a high time for organizations to start thinking how they will manage data, how they will manage AI, agent identities, etc., so that they are ready for the future. And I also suggest to organizations that they should start thinking or looking towards AI agent implementations for different workflows which can be automated instead of having human beings doing them.
Okay. But which are, according to you, the most important questions that organizations should be able to answer about AI agents? What is essential they should know and be aware of?
This, I think, follows the same principles as zero trust architecture. This follows the same as we do for any other identity in the organization. We need to know where all our agents are, what systems they can access, who is the owner, so that we can track who created them. We have to know the purpose of them, so why do they exist, what permissions they have, are they efficiently monitored, how can we revoke the access. This is a very important topic for incident response. And also we must have a lifecycle management for the agents. Similarly, like in Entra ID in Microsoft World, we have lifecycle management of user identities. Similarly, we need to develop something for agents.
Okay. So we are close to the end of our episode. If you had to leave to our audience one final message about AI adoption, what would that be?
I would say that organizations have to adopt AI because this is a new innovation which will bring so many capabilities and features and optimizations to organizations. If they cannot do that alone, they should look for providers or expertise consultants who can help them to implement this. However, they also have to start building governance around AI because it's much easier to implement governance at the beginning than later on. And as we mentioned earlier, the basis for good AI, it's good data classification and data sanitization.
Okay. So to finalize, where should organizations start if they want to prepare for the future of AI?
Start with the data. Make sure that you know where your data is, how you access your data. That means, do you have data on premises? Is everything in cloud? If we have data on premises, how we will make this data available to agent if that is required? Then start thinking about a framework. How will you create agents? Which platforms will you use? Which platforms will fit your purposes? For example, Microsoft, they have a lot of platforms. They have Foundry, for example. However, this does not fit every single requirement of organization. So depending on what you do, you might have to look at different platforms. Then think which models will you use? How will you ensure that the models people use are secure? Make sure that people do not use open source or non-corporate AI resources because they are a great source for data exfiltration. For example, if you have a GPT account, you log in with this account at work, you upload files to GPT, you get home, you download them from the same chat window. And start educating your employees on AI because it will enhance their work extensively.
Yeah, and I can imagine also the security of the organization if they know how to handle the data, right?
Correct. And I think if you start with these basic steps, you are on a very good road towards strategic business AI implementation roadmap.
Great. Thank you, Jacob Premern, for this insightful discussion. This cyber snack was very delicious, and I hope that our audience also enjoyed it. See you next month with a new exciting topic. And till then, stay tuned and stay safe.